comes to willpower, the question is, why do you need to exert some kind of self-control to help you reach your goals? Because by definition, if you need to exert control, it means something is out of control. And the question is, what is out of control? When we focus in on this area, suddenly the need for willpower and to work against something that isn't working for you is no longer needed to the degree it was before. I want you to think about the last time you're completely and utterly exhausted. Your need for willpower would have increased. Say for example, you were going out to dinner with friends, you were tired, and all of a sudden your ability to make a healthy food choice became suddenly hard. Now this is where our energy levels dropped and our willpower and need to exert control over something that was out of control goes up. When we begin to switch this around, increase our energy levels, the need to try and control something that's out of control suddenly disappears. Now that doesn't mean that we don't need willpower, it's just that the quantity suddenly goes down and everything becomes much easier. And this is where we need to look at some unorthodox approaches at what is actually costing you energy and affecting that willpower at the end of the day. One particular thing that can affect your willpower is in fact medications. Now let me be super clear, I'm not suggesting that you go off any medication right now. That's dangerous. You need to work with your doctor. The reality is that up to 50% of our population, even here in the US where I am right now, is on some kind of prescription medication. And this is where functional doctors as well as integrative doctors who purely focus on finding a cause come in incredibly handy. They approach our body as in a complete system. They're not separating out the brain from the body or vice versa. They're looking to find the reason that an individual may require medication in the first instance. And if you've spent any time in the US or Canada, you'll know that on the television screens here, individuals are bombarded with medications that they can use to solve problems as quickly as that. The challenge that we face with this is some of these medications have the ability to blunt our brain and alter our behavior without us even being aware of it, because we're given a prescription from a doctor in which we trust they've got the credibility and training. Now there are specific medications that you can look at, antidepressants, and in fact even inhalers for asthma sufferers. I recently uncovered research that showed that Ventolin and different steroid type medications for asthma, being a long-term asthma sufferer myself, can in fact trigger anxiety. Asthma is a perfect example of something that can have both a biological and a psychological trigger, which leaves some asthma sufferers wondering, do I have asthma because I'm anxious, or am I anxious because I have asthma? Now this is something that could affect mood, behavior, as well as how we feel about ourselves during the day. If you're feeling anxious for whatever reason, your need to exert willpower once again goes up because you're trying to control a situation that you feel out of control in. And it doesn't just stop with asthma sufferers. There are countless medications out available in the market in which the symptom is potential suicidal thoughts. If you do feel suicidal, please seek assistance immediately. The bottom line is that 50% of the population is taking some form of medication. Not all of them, but a large number of them have a significant influence on our mood. The problem that we face with that is once an individual starts taking the medication, they may become aware of some symptoms in the first few weeks. After time, the thermometer may reset and they become used to those symptoms, whether it be a bit of brain fog, low energy, or even low sex drive. Now, when that thermometer resets, it suddenly becomes the new normal. So our function may have decreased depending on the medication as well as the individual's response to the medication. There are companies that are coming out here in the US in which they can do a test to find out which medications work better for each individual instead of a shotgun approach, to work out which one is going to work. In that case, the individual has to suffer the symptoms until they find the right one for them. Why is this so critical to you becoming successful? Anything that increases your need for willpower needs to be addressed. Secondly, you want to look at the underlying cause to see if not only medications are part of the problem, in which you need to exert that extra control, or food sensitivities, or even allergens in hay fever season, in which can impair our cognitive abilities. Let me be clear. It's not just a lack of willpower. It's not a moral failing if you don't have the ability to focus. There are other factors at play that our society and our hustle now culture completely disregard at the expense of someone who is trying to reach their goals. If you'd love to learn more and participate in my upcoming book and project, be sure to visit theidentitygap.co. That's